Today I'll be talking about a gimbal for less than $100. Can it be possible? Let's find out. As someone who's just purchased an action camera, started out with a GoPro Hero 7, stabilization was amazing.
Using the GoPro and it's raining.
And then I moved on to the Osmo Action, and the Rocksteady is exactly that. It's Rocksteady. So what made me think, oh, I know, I need a gimbal? Well, because I saw one on the internet for £90. I thought, well, if that means I can do time lapses that move, that's like the holy grail. That's another tool in my filmmaker's toolkit. So I'm sitting on a wall in Wales, looking out over this beautiful vista, doing motion time lapse. I'm just watching it now, and the wind, because it's very windy, on the supplied mini tripod, I can see it shaking around when I put it behind a wall, so it's protected a little bit, but the gusts of wind are just buffeting. So I'm expecting to see that in the final version of the time lapse. If I were to bring an extra bit of kit, it would be a slightly more heavy duty tripod and a clamp. And if it wasn't windy, it'd be fine. But it is blowing an absolute gale up here. But it's beautiful. So before I had a motorized gimbal with an app that meant I can do smooth, motion controlled, lovely time lapses, this was my solution. Now, as you can hear, it's an egg timer, and all you'd simply do is set your GoPro on there and turn it round, and it would very slowly rotate. And then when you know it's done, your eggs are ready, and so is your time lapse. This worked really well for many years. You can see how beaten up it is. It's been really, really useful. But now this sort of $5 IKEA egg timer has been replaced by a £90, $100 gimbal, which enables you to do stuff like this. In terms of motion lapse, if we go here, this allows us to add a point. You choose where you want the camera to turn to, whether it's up or down, and then hit that, and then you can see that's added a second waypoint. And then if I click next, it will then give me the option to do 30, 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, all the way up to 6 hours. So that is pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive. So at the moment, I'm just going to do a 30-seconder, and we'll see if that works. And I'm going to speed this up now. That's great. And it comes up with a little message on the app that says motion time lapse completed. So there you go, there's the app. There's a little tweak I would like to make. I'd love to be able to save those waypoints so I can do the move over and over again, so we could have motion control moves that we could repeat. That would be fantastic. You could do some really cool stuff with that. In terms of ports, it's got a USB socket there, because if they hadn't have thrown enough at this already, this is also, it can power a device. And there is another tiny charging port just here that means you can actually charge your action camera, and it comes with 3 tiny little cables. Neither of them I've actually tried out yet, because I like the idea that the camera is waterproof, this is water resistant, so I just run them both on batteries. But the idea that this is also a power bank means that you could do a motion time lapse in dry conditions for hours just by using these 2 devices. You don't have to have this plugged into the mains or a battery pack. You don't have to have this plugged into a battery pack or the mains. They will run each other, and that's very exciting. When I first got this gimbal, I was keen to test it out, and I'd seen in other people's reviews of every type of gimbal basically, it doesn't handle up and down movement very well. It has to be up to you to keep it steady. You will get some bounce in your shot. So I was keen to go out and test it. And here's a shot of me walking down some steps. Rocksteady was on, so that gives you an extra layer of digital sort of stabilization.
So rainy day at the Wild Place today, but the iSteady Pro 2 is actually water resistant.
Which is also pretty amazing, because that means I've got a waterproof action camera on a water resistant gimbal, and I wasn't expecting much from it. I was expecting a sort of plasticky, cheap, badly constructed, really terrible battery life. I was expecting a lot of bad things to happen, but I can confirm it must be a 12-hour battery life at least. It's small enough, even with the tripod attachment on the bottom, which it comes with, it's still small enough to just chuck in the bag, and it's like a selfie stick. It's got 4 modes on it. So mode 1 button press, is pan follow, and basically when you twist your wrist, it will go to where you want it to point, and it's a steady, stable move. If you pull the trigger when you're doing it, it goes with the speed of your wrist. Now that is quite useful if you're doing somebody's point of view of a conversation. Let's say, oh, that's interesting, let's look over here, let's look over there now. So it's knowing these modes will enable you to get the most out of the action of this 90-pound gimbal. So we got pan tilt follow, that's 2 clicks. It will also, depending if you look up and down, it will look the direction that you are pointing. 3 clicks is all lock. The lens stays locked on to that position. Interesting for, let's say, jib shots.
Okay, so today we've come to Dunster Castle, and it's beautiful. I just wanted to put it on a bit of a Manfrotto monopod to see what I could get. Ooh, this is nice. Wow! Just freak out when I don't need you to. Right, it's got a bit confused. There we go. Try again. Right, it's now officially really raining. Let's try that one more time with a clean lens. It gets confused which way it's up it's supposed to be. It was good, but it just did this weird twist thing at the end of the lift. Stopped raining, still in Dunster.
It's Hohem making something that even 3 years ago I would have been excited to pay a lot more money for.
So that's all follow mode. It just totally freaked out. There we go. Back to normal again. So yeah, sometimes when it's gone from one extent to the other, it loses orientation and just flips out or just turns randomly left.
Holding in flashlight mode gives you inception mode, which gives you that movement there. So we've roughly gone over the modes, and if I go back into the first mode here and double click the trigger button, it will reset and come back to its normal orientation. If the gimbal is about to hit its stop, double clicking won't return it to its midpoint in between both stops, if you see what I mean. I would have liked to seen that when you press the reset button, it goes all the way back and resets to actually a point where you've got equal movement on both sides.
The heavens opened. It always rains when we come to Dunster. Everything's water resistant though, so it should be fine. Where we go now? Right, well that's what the Hohem iSteady Pro 2 is capable of. I think we've tested it in quite adverse weather conditions.
I'm very impressed with it, and I can throw that in my backpack and get results which 10 years ago I would have only dreamt of.
So that was a really good example of a camera shot that would cost thousands of pounds if you use broadcast equipment. I'm just using like a 90 quid gimbal and a 250 quid action camera, and you get results like that. Absolutely brilliant.
So those are my rambling thoughts about the iSteady Pro 2 from Hohem. But before I sign off, what I'd like you to do is down in the comment section below, have you thought of any devices like this that use something that aren't meant for filmmaking, that gives you amazing shots that just make you go,
Wow, how'd you get that? I would have never have thought to put a camera on an egg timer.
let's talk about that downstairs in the comment section. My next video is going to all be about the freelance life, the pitfalls and the prizes that you can get. If you're thinking about going freelance, I'm going to do a day in the life of a freelance editor. Me, been cutting for 20 years. I've seen it pretty much all in terms of the business side of things, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about money, going to talk about hours, going to talk about life-work balance. So, you've been fantastic. I've been Andy. Thanks for watching.